Skirt, skirt. Told you we always been ready. I don't need people that's petty, that weigh on me heavy while I'm being steady. I need a record with Felly. We get it bouncing like Betty's. I feel like I'm Nelly. Don't bring the beef like a deli. It's leave on a levy. No sleeping on me like I'm Freddy. Chris Breeze, how I do. Hit him with the moves. Left hand step back, ballin' like I'm Coos. All faith, God's plan. You just gotta choose. God slaps, nothing left to prove. Y'all gotta leave me alone. Lately I've been in my zone. Told them no cap like I fitted, but lately the flows have been straight off the dome. I feel like I'm MVP, like my name Patty Mahomes. If it ain't about money, don't hit up my phone, cause lately I've been in my zone.
Hello, welcome to the Cowboy Show, hosted by Ben Carey and Nick Gronerad, combining expert human opinions with cutting-edge simulation models to help you arrive at the best picks each week. Inside Edge Community. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to today's stream. We've got Saturday baseball. I think Saturday is my favorite baseball day of the week. We've got games starting in the morning. It's good. Hope everyone in chat is doing well. So we got Jay Wells says, best place to have my coffee by far. Let's have a day. You know, I agree. This is my favorite place to have my coffee. On stream, talking some sports with y'all. Feels good. So let's grab some coffee and cheers to that. All right. See, we got Zach. What's up, Zach? Says, let's go. Hope you're having a morning. Baked pumpernickel. Said, sup, Ben? How's Hawaii? I don't think Ben is here. That was me posting under the Catboys account this time. Although Ben is having if the pictures are anything to go off of, Ben is having a phenomenal time in Hawaii. I think he's going to be back on Tuesday. Probably not on stream on Tuesday, but I think he's back like Monday or Tuesday, and he will for sure inform everyone how the honeymoon was. I think I mean it's got to be hard to have a bad time in Hawaii, right? It's got to be hard to have a bad time in Hawaii. What's up, Big Jer? Says, let's go. What's up, Pick 6? Saturday bangs. What's up, a man lack? Morning. What's up, Gigit? What's up, Medicate? Gotta go. You gotta know, Cards or Cubs for the first game? I don't know. I don't really have many thoughts on that game. I mean, it's a pretty sketch pitching matchup with Matt Swarmer, who pitched really well, but isn't a guy that really should be expected to continue pitching well. And then Johan Oviedo making his season debut for the Cards. I really don't have any thoughts on that game. Let's see who else we got. No Gwen. Sorry, no Gwen today. All the Gwen fan club is gonna have to wait for tomorrow. I'll make sure we find a spot for Gwen tomorrow. Don't worry. What's up, Boston Sports Store? Said, breastfeed me some winners. Okay, Trent. Somebody's been watching a little bit too much of Trent. Trent's going off the rails with his breastfeeding jokes. It's kind of funny, but a little sus at the same time. Who else we got? What's up, Sick Money? What's up, Geeb? What's up, Jack? What's up, Bitch and Moan? Says Nick. What a name, first off. What's your favorite sports book? I have a couple sports books that I like. I think first and foremost, it's important to have multiple books, just for the purposes of shopping around for different lines. It is really something that makes you a lot of money over the long run. Just having access to different lines. I mean, if you get like a minus 110 as opposed to a minus 120 here, plus 100 as opposed to a minus 110 there, like it really, really, really adds up over the long run. So I'm not going to shout out any specific sports books, but I will say that it's important to have many different accounts on different sports books. Jill says, took Cubs plus first 5 to fade Oviedo. Yeah, Oviedo's supposed to be like a good prospect. He kind of wasn't all that great last year, but I give young guys the benefit of the doubt when they come up and they have a bit of a rough start. Patriots cheated. Thank you for the 4-month sub. Yo. Appreciate that very much, my man. Hope you're having a great day. How's the weather in Wrigley? We're actually going to be talking about Wrigley in Game 2. The second game in Wrigley. That's the hype train category that we have coming up. So I'll touch on the weather when we get there. Who else we got? A lot of people in the chat. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, for saying what's up. What's up, Lil CC's? Over on that game. Yeah, I probably would lean overs in these games. Yeah, all the sun and relaxation for Ben in Hawaii. Probably an awful time. And beyond, of course, is Paul Goldschmidt over 1.5 bases. Which game? Because you can probably bet that on 2 different games today. Medicate says riding goalie 2 bases. Yeah, he's been good. McEasy says fading the fuck out of Bubich today. Yeah, it is fade Chris Bubich day. It should be like a national holiday once every 5 days. He's been awful this year. I would not be surprised to see him down in the minors pretty soon. Let's see. What's up? What's up? Red just says lol. I think that was at the Trent comment. What's up, Sasabuk? What's up, Saxty? All right. So, yeah. Oviedo. A lot of gas. Maybe too much for his own good. There's a lot of that with these young pitchers these days. A lot of gas. Not necessarily so much control over it. So let's go ahead and hop in to the stream. Again, hello to everyone. Apologies if I happen to miss you. I was trying to say hello to everyone. But a little bit about the stream and how it works. We've got 5 categories of games that you can see on the left-hand side of the screen. For each of the first 4 categories, I've picked out a game that fits into that category. It's 4 games that are interesting for 4 different reasons. Not necessarily my favorite bets of the day on these games, just more so 4 games to spark some discussion around the slate, some of the more interesting games, interesting narratives, things that the people are going to be interested in. For each of these games, I will have my lean, my favorite bet on the game, and you guys, as the chat, will have the opportunity to vote in a poll to see what your collective favorite play on those games are. All of these plays going to be tracked over on BetStamp. You can see the entire history of the stream since May 4th. Close to 300 picks. 300 leans, I should say. Over on the Capwise stream BetStamp account. We had a green day yesterday, up about 1.5 units between myself and you guys and Krabs. So that was nice. The final category of the day is the walk-off, where I have my actual favorite play of the day. And you guys, as chat, will be able to tell me some of your favorite plays in the chat. I'll throw 5 of them into a poll, and we'll see what chat's favorite play of the day is. So with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and hop in to category number 1.
David versus Goliath.
Average Joe's versus the Globo Gym Goliath. This sport doesn't build character, it reveals it.
F&A, Cotton, F&A.
So category number 1, once again, David versus Goliath, and once again talking about the Detroit Tigers and the New York Yankees. So this is game 3, I believe, of the series. I think they play a 4th game tomorrow. But it has been rough for the Tigers. Also, speaking of rough, my dog always decides to eat when I'm on stream. Her food's been there for like an hour. She's just sitting in the sun. Close the windows for the sake of the stream lighting. She's like, oh, okay, now it's time to eat. Gotta go clank, make some noise, show my presence. So apologies for the noise, but dog's gotta eat. The lines in this game, so big for the Yankees that I have to lower the text size in the widget so that everything fits, which is hilarious. But the Yankees minus 345 on the money line, total sitting at 8.5. The Yankees first 2 pitchers in the series, it was Jameson Taillon and Garrett Cole. Both took perfect games late into the game. I think Taillon lost his perfect game in the 8th. And then we saw Garrett Cole lose his perfect game in the 7th. So the Tigers have done basically nothing on offense this entire series. And I think that's really reflected in this line, right? I mean, the Yankees are minus 345, minus 350, probably even worse than that on other books. But what I think is interesting is the movement that we've seen in this total. So talked about this game yesterday, and the total was sitting at 7.5. It flew over. It was like a 12 or 13 to nothing win for the Yankees. Oh, tie-in was against the Angels, not the Tigers. Okay, good call. Thank you. That's correct. I was thinking like that doesn't quite add up because they wouldn't be playing a 4-game series. That'd be kind of weird. But yeah, either way, Yankees pitching has been performing great, and the Tigers bats yesterday were gross. They were bad. So what I'm gonna take here in this game, so first off, I agree with Boston Sports Dork. I mean, maybe he's biased. He's not the New York Sports Dork, but says that there's no value on the Yanks. I mean, at minus 345, obviously there's no value on the money line here. If you're betting minus 345s, you need to be hitting at almost 80% to be break even, like 77.5%. And I mean, and maybe that's a reasonable line here, but I don't want to be touching that, not even in a parlay. The minus 1.5 is sitting at minus 160, maybe a little bit of value there. As a home team, it does scare me a little bit. I have a natural dislike of home team run lines. Just shit goes wrong, and you end up with a team up by 1 at home and no opportunity to bat in the bottom of the ninth. So what I think I'm going to do is I think with this total sitting at 8.5, and the fact that there's really nowhere to go but down for the Yankees pitching, I'm going to take, and this feels gross, a Tigers team total over. So I don't like the value on the Yankees bats here. As my pick of the day in this game yesterday, I had the Yankees first 5 team total over 2.5. That hit pretty easily. That number sitting at 3.5 today. Their full game team total is sitting at 5.5. I don't quite like the value that you're getting on either of those numbers. I think with the Tigers full game at 2.5. And I think that the price that you're paying on this currently sitting at minus 125. I like this. Severino has been pitching pretty well for the most part. I mean, he had a little bit of a rough start last time out against Tampa. He gave up 4 runs. I mean, he only allowed 4 base runners, but they all scored. He's not a guy who's going to go out and throw 6-7 perfect innings. I mean, like, not that that's a standard that anybody should have to live up to, but that's what the Yankees have been doing. And I think that the Yankees are kind of priced, pitching-wise, like that's what they're going to do. Severino, he's going to go out, he's going to walk some guys. He's going to give up some contact. So the Tigers are going to have guys on base. And I think that just with how ice cold they were yesterday, nowhere to go but up today. I think we see some bat on the ball. 2 runs against Severino, a run against the pen. Tigers at 3. So I'm going to take the Tigers team total over 2.5 at minus 125. And it looks like chat is thinking along the same lines. So once again, which is a little unusual since I started doing the polls these ways. It's usually a side that will win the poll. But for the second day in a row, you guys like the over. Over 8.5 at minus 115. So gonna lock both of these in. There's that. There's that. So we are locked in on BetStamp. I like this. I think this over is a pretty reasonable play as well. Wind is also blowing out at Yankee Stadium. Brisky is he's a young guy, pretty decent prospect, making his debut earlier this year. He's been consistently, like, okay. He had one bad start where he gave up 6, but other than that, he's pretty consistently been, like, 2, 3, maybe 4 earned runs, which is what scared me off of the full game over. The Tigers' pen is actually pretty good. So I'd just be worried trusting the Yankees on a -2.5 if this does end up being like a 4-2, 5-3 type of game. It really feels like it could end up kind of in that range. So I model has a total at like between 8 and 8.5. So I don't know about the total. Yeah, wind blowing out, Stanton's back, but again, this number is a run higher than it was yesterday. And I don't know that moving from Colt to Severino is worth an entire run, especially if we're giving that run to the Yankees and not to the Tigers, which is exactly what we're seeing on the team totals. So I just think that that's a little weird. So that makes me think that the value is on the Tigers today and not on the Yanks, just as far as looking for a team to put up more runs than expected. Are the Tigers lefty heavy today? That's an excellent question. And kind of. So Willie Castro batting leadoff is a switch hitter, so he'll bat lefty. Harold Castro, lefty, batting third. Heimer Candelario, switch hitter, so he'll hit lefty, is batting 6th. Cody Clemens, Roger Clemens' son, by the way, for anybody who is unaware, playing left field today, batting 7th, is a lefty, and Tucker Barnhart, switch hitter, batting 8th. So 5 guys who at least can hit lefty today against Severino. No Torque. Torkelson is getting a day off. So full poll results. The over got 12 votes. The Yankees, -1.5 at -160, got 7 votes. The Tigers run line, +1.5 at +140, got 5 votes, or got 1 vote, 5% of the vote. And the under also got 1 vote. Just need 1 Little League home run to make this an easy cash. Yeah. Just feel like both teams can cover their team totals, so rolling with the over. Yeah, I'd just be worried that this ends up as like a 5-3 game. I feel like that's a very reasonable thing to happen here, and then you get fucked on the Yankees to -2.5 if you're going with that, and you get fucked on the over. It could also be like a 13-7 game or something. Who knows? There's definitely the possibility for a lot of runs here. I just wouldn't necessarily be counting on it personally. All right. Let's go ahead and hop in to category number 2.
Pitching duel.
Now, key to being a big league pitcher is the 3 R's. Readiness, recuperation, and conditioning.
So category number 2 is the pitching duel, where we take a look at a game with a low total and a good pitching matchup. And the game that we're going to be looking at today is the game in Tampa, being contested between the Tampa Bay Rays at home and the Chicago White Sox on the road. Pitching matchup in this game, we've got Dylan Cease on the mound for the White Sox, and we've got Drew Rasmussen on the mound for the Rays. 2 of the better young pitchers in all of baseball, although young is a kind of relative term, I think, in baseball. I mean, these guys feel young, but they're 26. Like, is 26 young? Is 26 old? I mean, so Dylan Cease is 26. He's been in the league for 4 years. Dude debuting for the Cubs later, who's one of their better pitching prospects, is 25. Right? So, like, is Cease young? Is Killian old? It obviously doesn't exist in a vacuum, but I just think it's interesting, right? Like, that we have a prospect debuting at 25, who's like a pretty good prospect for the Cubs. And then we have Dylan Cease, who's like feels like he's been around forever and is simultaneously like the same age and is also young, but he's also like not young. I don't know. It's just interesting to think about. So lines in this game, Rays at home sitting at -120 on the money line. Total sitting at 6.5. White Sox sitting at +100 on the money line. Everybody be sure to go vote. Oh, I accidentally put a -110 for the Rays, not a -120, but that's okay. Be sure to go vote on the poll. Let me know what you like in this game. So I think, first and foremost, Dylan Cease has been a little iffy recently, kind of. Had a fantastic start to the season, but 2 of his last 4 starts have been clunkers. 2 of his last 4 starts have been great. So back on May 12th, he went 4 innings against the Yankees, gave up 6 hits, 6 earned runs, including 2 homers. Then his next start, he followed that up at Kansas City with 5 scoreless innings with 7 hits. Next start, May 24th against the Red Sox, 3 innings, 8 hits, 7 earned, 2 dingers again. And then last start against the Cubs, 7 2-hit shutout innings. So Cease has kind of been all over the place. If you're the kind of person who likes to look for simple patterns that are completely meaningless, it's been a terrible start, good start, terrible start, good start, which means he's due for a terrible start. That's obviously not how it actually works. But yeah, Cease has been a little inconsistent recently, and I think that makes this harder to handicap. Cease's splits are interesting. He's been extremely good against righties this year, like a 203 batting average against. He's been better on the road than he has at home, although I think part of that is just up to the teams that he's played. In each of those spots, I mean, like he started on the road against Kansas City, Cleveland, Detroit, and Boston, 4 really easy games, and at home he's dealt with the Angels, he's dealt with the Rays, he's dealt with the Red Sox, he's dealt with the Yankees. So I think a lot of the home road splits is just down to the teams that he's faced. So that's not something that I'm reading a whole lot into. Drew Rasmussen for the Rays, the other pitcher in this matchup, is a guy who's also been on a little bit of a downswing. He was phenomenal earlier on in the year, and he still hasn't been terrible recently, but his last 2 starts have been a little underwhelming, especially the most recent one. So May 25th at home against Miami, he went 5 innings, gave up 6 hits, 3 earned, 7 Ks, which is good for Rasmussen. And then last start at Texas, had some walk issues, had a season high 3 walks, gave up 5 hits, 5 earned in just 3 innings against Texas. So Rasmussen isn't a guy who's going to go super deep into the game. He's hasn't pitched more than 90 pitches in a start all year, typically sitting more around 80. But what I think that I like in this game, with the fact that both of these teams are a little bit banged up, and both pitchers, I mean, have been maybe trending slightly downwards a little bit, I'm going to take a bounce back spot against a weak lineup for these pitchers. I'm going to take a first 5 under, which I believe I can grab at 3.5. So let me make sure I can do that. Yeah, I can grab a first 5 under 3.5 at minus 110. So even if one of these pitchers is a little off, I do think that we still have some wiggle room to hit this. And both of these guys have shown the ability and the potential to go for 5 innings and not allow any runs. I mean, Cease has gone 2 of his last 4, 3 starts overall this year, not allowing a run. And again, the other ones were terrible starts. So I'm definitely cherry picking there a little bit. And then Rasmussen had a string of 5 straight starts earlier this year, where he gave up 0 or 1 run in the first 5 innings. So I think we're getting some good value here. If I was picking a side, I think I would be on Tampa in this one, and that is where chat went as well. So poll results, very split, very interestingly. 5 votes on the Rays money line, 4 votes on the White Sox money line, 2 votes on the under, 1 vote on the over. So I do like the Rays pick from the chat. I think that's a good one. I think that, I mean, Cease is a better pitcher than Rasmussen. He's also been a little bit more inconsistent than Rasmussen. I definitely like the Rays pen more that I like the White Sox pen, and I like the Rays bats, plus they're at home. So that's where I'd go if I was looking for a side here. But it's going to be a first 5 under 3.5, minus 110 for me. Rays money line, minus 120 for chat. Locking all that in. Have it locked in on BetStamp as well. Jay Wells says, run it at 4 with juice to get a push. I mean, I don't like to play for a push, personally. I think you're not. I mean, what you're doing is you're giving yourself less return if you win, in exchange for getting your money back if it's at exactly 4. And the way that I kind of think about it, right, is you're looking for a win at 0 runs, 1 run, 2 run, or 3 runs. If you think that's going to happen, you get it at the best price that you can, and that's at 3.5, and not at 4. And if you're not so confident, then maybe you play it at the 4. But then, like, why are you playing it at all? If you feel like you need to pay for the insurance, then for me it would just be a no bet. I don't like playing for the push. If I like where I'm at for the win. Mikey B says, might throw a first 5 under and White Sox money line in a 2-teamer. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I would play them together. I think if you like the White Sox money line, just play it. I think if you like the White Sox money line, you're definitely looking for the White Sox to score a couple off of Rasmussen. So that might be not necessarily something that's correlated with the first 5 under. If I was going to take first 5 under and a money line, I would rather do it with the Rays, just because, again, I think that the Rays have the advantage in the last couple innings just with the bullpens. So I would take, if I was looking for a correlation with the first 5 under and 8 teams money line, again, it's the Rays. And Richie, yeah, you're absolutely correct that it depends. And for sure, like yesterday, my play in that pitching duel game that we had on the stream yesterday, which was the Brewers and the Padres game, was the under 6.5, and it finished at 7. And if I took the 7, I would have pushed. I would have taken a draw instead of a loss. Would have got my money back. Absolutely. But I think people, and for right or for wrong, people get caught up on situations like that where, like, oh, you take the 7, you buy the hook, and it works. It pays off for you. And it certainly will at certain times. There's no question about that. There's just the question that you have to answer, like, is it a good decision or a bad decision, is if you were to do it 100 times, do you make more money by getting your push however many times it happens and not losing those bets? Or do you get more money by taking a couple losses there in exchange for a bigger return every time you win? That's the question that you have to answer. And again, for me personally, I'd rather take a couple extra losses for a bigger return when I do win. Or, I mean, at least in this game in particular. So that's just the math that you have to do. And there's not a right and wrong answer in general. It's definitely a case-by-case basis. It's an individual-by-individual basis. There's certainly just a psychological element to it, right? Just how risk-averse are you? I think that there's a lot of people who are happy to just try and win more bets in general. And that's completely fine, too. So it definitely depends. Yankees money line. It's free in the SpongeBob voice. Yeah, no, it's free. That's as somebody said earlier, that's the Trent VI Premium play of the day. Can't lose now. That's with Brian. It says Giants-Marlins game sitting at 7. So not planning on talking about that game, at least in the first 5 games that we've got on the screen here. Very happy to sit around and do some Q&A after the fact. It is definitely an interesting game. Interesting pitching matchup. And it was kind of the runner-up for this pitching duel game. So let's go ahead and move along into category number 3.
Field streakers.
Fire up in here, it's burning hot, we on fire.
So category number 3 is field streakers, taking a look at a team that is on a long winning streak or a long losing streak. Yesterday, Capwise field streakers curse came through once again. We solely were responsible for ending the Blue Jays winning streak at 8 games yesterday. It was a conscious decision of mine. It was Chi-Chi day. Chi-Chi did not pitch well. He went 3 innings, gave up 3 runs, but the Twins bats showed up against Kikuchi. They showed up against the Jays bullpen, and the Twins pen pitched really well. 6 shutout innings from them, I believe. And the Blue Jays ended up losing that game like 9-3, I think it was. Not a good showing from them. But the other team was on an 8-game streak yesterday. Their streak continued. And today, we're going to curse the streak. We have the Angels playing today on the road against the Philadelphia Phillies. Phillies sitting at minus 180 on the money line, sitting at 8 at the total. And yeah, of course, Krabs is on the Twins. 1 second, can drink some coffee. And yeah, I'm actually kind of pissed at myself because I faded Chi-Chi, and I think that the Blue Jays run line was the wrong way to fade Chi-Chi. I think that the over was the play. I remember I was sitting there and Krabs was on the Twins money line, and I was like, why not take the over? And then we were just sitting there like, I don't know, but we're just gonna do this. And I think that the over in that game ended up being the right way to fade Chi-Chi. So you live and you learn for me on that one. Don't take the juice run line. Take the over if you're looking to fade a guy. And the other guy on the mound is not great. But yeah, Krabs absolutely killed that one yesterday. So the Angels, man, oh man. They are still above 500, but they are on a 9-game losing streak. Again, playing the Phillies, who beat the snot out of them yesterday. That was a 10-0 game. So be sure to go vote on the poll first. And second, pitching matchup in this game is pretty interesting. We've got Michael Lorenzen on the mound for the Angels, Zach Wheeler on the mound for the Phillies. Lorenzen has been surprisingly good this year. Not that he's ever been a bad pitcher, but he's been impressive this year. I've been kind of surprised with how well Lorenzen is pitching. He's made 8 starts. He's gone 48 innings, 3.19 ERA, 106 WHIP. He's not striking out a ton of guys. Only got 31 Ks in his 48 innings, but he's limiting base runners. I always have a little bit of a distrust towards pitchers in that mold who are more pitch to contact guys, not high strikeout guys. But it's been working for Lorenzen this year. He's had a couple starts, but never really had a complete implosion. Wheeler, on the other hand, pitching extremely well. He is. You have to say it. Have to give him credit for that. Rough start to the year for Zach Wheeler. He had a 7 earned run game against Miami and a 4 earned run game against Milwaukee in his first 3 starts. Has only given up 6 earned runs in his 6 starts combined since then. Last time out against the Mets, he was victimized by a couple unearned runs. I think this has been a bit of a theme for the Phillies this year. We've seen some bad defense from the Phils, but yeah, Wheeler definitely going in the right direction. So what I like in this game, I'm going to take the Angels plus 1.5 at minus 130. At least is the number that I have it at in the poll. I don't trust them to win. I loved the Phillies yesterday. I'm a little sad that we didn't talk about that game. They had just fired their manager, Joe Girardi, who was a horrible manager at this stage of his career. A lot of mismanagement of the Phillies. And I think that they were happy to see him gone. And I think that we saw that in the 10-0 win that they had yesterday. I think that a lot of that emotion will tone down in day number 2. And I think that we see more of a regular Phillies versus regular Angels type of game. I'm expecting Lorenzen to keep this one close. I'm not expecting great things from Lorenzen, but I'm not expecting him to get shelled the same way that Silseth got shelled yesterday, and that the Angels pen got shelled yesterday. So I'm looking for like a game, a 5-4 game, a 4-3 game. Maybe the Angels eke out a win. Maybe it's 5-4 for the Angels, that kind of thing. I think this is going to be a close one. I do. I think just the letdown after the big emotional game yesterday for the Phils. Give me the Angels plus 1.5. The other thing I will say is that the model has the Phillies winning this game, but by only about a run. So I think, especially as the home team, where there's so many things that can happen. Whether it's they're up by 1 heading into the bottom of the 9th, or whether it goes into extras, where you see a lot of home teams win by exactly 1 run. So I'm taking the Angels plus 1.5 here, and what again I think should be a pretty close game. So I'm locking that in for myself. Let's see what chat has to say. So chat likes, first and foremost, the over. We had 11 votes on the over, 8 at minus 115. So that is what I'm going to lock in for the chat on BetStamp and up on the screen. We had 4 votes on the Angels plus 1.5, 3 votes on the Phillies at minus 1.5, and 1 vote, 1 lone soul on the under in this one. And yeah, the Phillies are definitely, or the Angels are definitely not hitting well. I mean, they've scored a combined 3 runs in their last 4 games. Trout 0 for 18 in his last 18 at bats, like Joey just said. Like they've got to pick it up at some point. I don't want to say that they're due. I don't believe in due-ness. But what I do believe in is I believe in teams kind of just hitting the way that their talent dictates they should hit. I think Trout will be back to Trout at some point. Again, not saying he's due. It might not be today. But he's not going to continue being hitless over the next 40 at-bats or whatever. He's not going to go Chris Davis 0 for 53 type of deal, right? Trout is Trout. He's cold, but he's Trout. Ohtani, same deal. Is he hitting well right now? No, not really. But he's Ohtani. It's gonna come for him at some point. Bottom of the lineup for the Angels hasn't been hitting well either. But again, they're not like AAA players. Taylor Ward is good, but not great. Jared Walsh is fine. Marsh is fine. Stassi's fine. Like they're gonna piece it together. Yeah, same as the Jays a couple weeks ago, exactly. You just have to. I mean, again, and I'm not saying that they're due. Not saying today is the day it has to happen. But I do, with Lorenzen on the mound, like the value here on the Angels. That's where I'm going. So let's go ahead and hop in to the next one. Category number 4.
The hype train.
Come on. Release the brainstorm to make your motherfucking brain warm. A strange form, something kind of lyrical. Biggie the bastard, so that's kind of spiritual. Well, in God we trust, guns are bust.
So category number 4 is the hype train. taking a look at a highly regarded prospect making their big league debut. And the guy that we've got today is taking the mound for the Cubs in the second game of their doubleheader today. And his name is Caleb Killian. He was an 8th round pick. It's not a super high draft pick, but again, the MLB draft is weird. It's not like an 8th round pick is necessarily worse than like a 2nd or 3rd or 4th round pick or whatever, just because of the way that the contract negotiations work. 8th round pick, though, out of Texas Tech back in 2019. He is a right-handed pitcher, doesn't bring crazy velocity, which is unlike a lot of the other kind of top-end pitching prospects that we've seen this year. I mean, of course, we've got like Hunter Green, we've got Matt Brash, we've got who else? There's a couple other guys. I mean, like Johan Duran in the Twins bullpen, bringing 102. A lot of big flamethrowers. Killian doesn't have that heat, but and I think that's why he's not rated quite as highly as of a prospect as those guys. So Fangraphs has him rated as the number 8 prospect in the Chicago Cubs system, potentially the best pitching prospect in that system. So he sits more like 91, 92, 93, can hit 96, 97 with the fastball. Breaking balls, iffy. But what he is he is a command and control freak. Barely walks anybody. Coming into this season, he had walked 18 batters in 130 innings as a professional pitcher. He can locate the fastball up, down, in, out, and that's a useful skill set that I think is something that plays up for pitchers making their debuts. I think a lot of these guys who come in with heat and they don't know where it's going, those are the kind of guys that get beat up early on. We saw it with Brash, we saw it with Green, and I think that these guys who are better pitchers, not necessarily better throwers, but better pitchers, are more so the guys who are liable to have instant success. Not necessarily higher upside, but guys who are going to have better success kind of out of the gate. So lines in this game, and let me throw the poll up now. Cubs, minus 115 favorites against the Cards in Game 2 of the doubleheader. Total in that game sitting at 8.5. So on the mound for the Cards, another interesting pitcher, another prospect, who debuted this year for the Cards. Not a super highly regarded guy. He's making his first career start, so it's a bullpen game for the Cards, which is something I generally don't like betting on or against. But he's pitched well for the Cards. His name is Andre Polante. He's 23. Again, made his debut this year. He's made 17 relief appearances, building up a little bit in innings. He's gone 3 and 3.1 innings his last 2 appearances. He's pitched well. He's got a 1.07 ERA, only given up 3 earned runs in those 25 innings. Only 18 Ks though, which is a little bit weird for a reliever to be under a strikeout per inning, and especially down more in like the, what is that, 7.5 ish? No, 6.4 Ks per inning. That's a lot of contact from a reliever. It really is. He's given up 25 hits in 25 innings. He's walked 10 guys in those 25 innings. And again, he's probably only going to go 3-4 innings today, and then we get the rest of the Cardinals bullpen behind him. I don't know. Again, I generally don't like bullpen games, and I do think that it's important to wait and see exactly what happens in Game 1, where it's important to note also, the Cardinals, I believe, let me go double check this, but I believe, the Cardinals, well, no, that one's also basically even money. So never mind. But we could see, especially if the Cardinals win that game and we see the top end pen arms, we see Genesis Cabrera, we see Giovanni Gallegos, we see Ryan Helsley come out from the Cards in Game 1. We could see some not so great pen arms behind Polante in Game 2, and that could mean runs for the Cubs. So what I think I like in this game is tentatively Cubs money line. Again, I think that we're going to see not so great relievers from the Cards in game number 2. I think that Killian is going to come in and throw 5 innings that are going to be acceptable. And then I trust the back end of the Cubs pen. And again, a lot of this depends on what happens in game 1. You typically don't see relievers who pitch a full inning in the first game of a doubleheader. If they throw, like, say, 15 or more pitches, they're not going to come out and throw again in game number 2. They can throw the next day, but they're not going to throw in game number 2. So whoever wins game number 1, I think, especially if it's a close game, I think is a fade in game number 2. So if it's who it's supposed to be, if it's Oviedo against Swarmer in game number 1, give me the Cards, I think, in game number 1. Although, again, I don't know. We're going to have to see what happens. It's minus 110 both ways for a reason. But I like the Cubs in game 2. I also think that the over in game number 2 could be a look as well. So let me go lock in the Cubs for myself. Over on BetStamp. Best price for that is minus 105 over on DraftKings. Still got a couple seconds on the poll. Not so surprisingly, not very many votes on this one. I would usually berate the chat for lack of voter turnout, but I think this is an acceptable spot to be not so opinionated on. Yeah, no. Yeah, the poll could have been a 4-way tie. You could have just made my life a living hell. It'll happen one day where we get a 4-way tie. Again, we know how to deal with 2-way ties as long as it's a team and a total. That just turns into a team total. A 3-way tie, I don't know. 4-way tie, it's a no bet. We throw up a no bet. But it is the Cubs eking out a win with 4 votes. 3 votes on the Cards, 3 votes on the over. You guys tried to tie it back up. 2 votes on the under. So it's going to be a consensus play here on the Cubs to win this game. Yeah, we'd have to call Ben mid-honeymoon. Yeah. Oh, I guess it's not like that early. It's like 7:30 in Hawaii. I think Hawaii's 3 hours behind Mountain, which feels that kind of blew my mind. I looked it up. So I mean, I grew up on the East Coast, and I was used to Hawaii being like way, way, way behind. So then just like the relative changes and other things moving further west. Oh, it's 4 hours behind. Here? Okay, that makes sense. What island is he on? It's a good question. He's I don't know. It starts with a K. If you type out Hawaiian islands that start with a K, I could tell you. I'm not a Hawaiian island geography expert by any means. Yeah, Kauai, that's the one. All right, so it is time for the walk-off. So before I say my play and before I play the quick video clip, I need to know what everybody's favorite play is. So chat, take a second, type out your favorite bet of today's MLB slate in the chat. It could be a money line, it can be a run line, it can be a first 5 full game, it could be a nerf fee, a year fee, a team total, a full game total, it can be whatever. But give me the bet and give me the price of the bet. Is it a minus 110? Is it a plus 150? Is it a minus 365 VI premium DCL? I need to know the bet, and I need to know the number. So here's the video clip.
The walk-off.
The 1-1 pitch. A swing and a drive to deep right. Away back. Gone.
And let's see what we got. So Medicate says Goldie, 2 bases in game 1. What is the line on that? Plus 115. Okay. So throwing that one in there. We'll take the Ronci Contreras day. Pirates first 5. Money line at minus 145. This kid looks good. And Jay Smitty, it says game 2 on the screen. So in the game info it says game 2. Let me actually go, for the sake of confusion, or the sake of lack of confusion, the sake of clarity. Let me throw some G2s in the other spaces as well. Let's see. What else we got? Bamf says Guards, Orioles, under 8. At minus 120. Sealord says Yankees money line, minus 333. I'm sorry, we actually only take minus 400 or higher for the poll. So, it's not a lock enough. Sorry. We've got Astros. Team total over 5.5. Minus 108 from Baked Pumpernickel. Saxy, along the same lines, likes the Astros over in that game. Hinkle says Tigers. Although I think that the Tigers were down in that poll relative to the Yanks, so I'm gonna skip over that one. Although I don't actually hate it. We'll take Marlins money line at minus 110. Pablo Lopez from Evil Genius. So poll is up. Be sure to go vote. Let us know what your favorite play of the day is, at least among these 5. So for me, I'm going to go back to a similar well to the one that I was in yesterday. So my favorite play yesterday was that Red Sox first 5 team total over 1.5, which I think was a silly number for them to have offered. I mean, it only hit 2, so I guess it maybe wasn't that silly of a number. But I was looking, I was trying. I've been on fire with these first 5 team totals. I've hit like many of them in a row between my picks of the day and what I've given out on the Book It stream and just like other leans that I've had on the stream. But I couldn't find one that I love today. I couldn't. So I had to settle for a more standard bet. I'm gonna take the Red Sox today. Just gonna take the money line at minus 140. I think that they have an edge in pretty much every aspect of this matchup. If you look at the face stats, Paul Blackburn has better numbers than Nick Pivetta, just looking at ERA and WHIP. But I think Blackburn is due for some regression, and I think that we've started to see that recently. He had a not so great start against Houston in his last appearance. He went 6.2 innings, gave up 4 earned. He's a guy who just doesn't strike out a lot of guys. He gives up a lot of contact. He's had good luck on balls in play thus far this year, but against a Red Sox team that is one of the best in the league hitting against right-handed pitching, I think it's a day for Blackburn to give up a ton of contact and for the Red Sox to see some balls fall into the field. I think they're going to put up some runs. I didn't like the value on the first 5 team total today for the Sox. I think it was at 2.5. It was plus money, but I'd rather just take them to win this game because I'm a believer in Nick Pivetta right now, and the A's are the worst team in the league over the last month hitting against right-handed pitching. So I think that Pivetta's stuff is going to play up against the A's. I think that Blackburn's stuff plays down against the Red Sox. So I think that trying to focus in on a team total here is not where I want to go, because I like the pitching matchup for the Red Sox, and I like the hitting matchup for the Red Sox. So we're going to take what that tells us, which is the money line. This is a play that the model really likes. Model has the Sox at let me see, hold on. What is the win probability that the model has the Sox at? Gotta scroll. Has the Sox at yeah. They should. The model says that they should be more like minus 200. So I like this value quite a bit. So let me go lock that in for myself. Boom. Got a couple more minutes on the poll, so just gonna let that simmer, let it do its thing. Be sure to go vote if you haven't already voted. Bets with Brian says gun to my head, Angels run line or that game going over. So my lean was the Angels run line. Chat preferred the over. I don't think that either of them are bad bets. I think if I'm taking a total, especially at 8, it is the over. But luckily, I don't have a gun to my head. Which is always nice. But I'd rather be on the Angels run line, personally. But again, like if you'd rather take the over, that's not a bad bet. Evagenia says, what's model got for Miami and San Francisco? So one thing that the model really likes is the over. And maybe actually I should have looked at this. I missed this. I don't think I looked at the first 5 team totals. But model has this game going over. Model has the Giants winning. Hold on, let's see. I want to, on the fly, let's see. What are these team totals at? First 5 team totals. Marlins, 1.5 minus like 115-ish. Giants, 1.5 minus 110-ish. Could be some value here. So Pablo Lopez, was absolutely nuts at the start of the year. And he had a great start last time out in Coors. But he had 2 starts in the middle of May, back-to-back, that were not so great. Still not terrible, but not great. He gave up 3 earned against Washington in 3 innings, gave up 4 earned, 9 hits, which is, I think, the little bit more concerning thing, in 7 innings against Tampa, the 2 starts right before that Coors start. I don't know that I would necessarily trust him to give up a couple runs in the first 5. Again, he's been colder, but yeah. Logan Webb, on the other hand, this is a guy who's pretty consistently giving up some runs. I haven't looked at these, so I don't know how many of these runs are coming early on, as opposed to in like the 6th and 7th inning, because Webb has pretty consistently pitched deep into games. So on the fly, let's go ahead and check this out. I'm just opening up box scores on on my other monitor over here. And counting. So his first 2 starts of the year, he only gave up 1 run in each. So obviously not over 1.5 first 5 runs allowed for him. Against the Mets, he gave up 3 in the third, so that's an over. Gave up 3 against the Nats in the first 5, and then 2. Gave up 4 to the Cards in the first 5. Gave up 2 to the Rockies in the first inning. Gave up 2 to the Mets in the first 5. And last time out against the Phillies, gave up 5. So yeah, so every time, so I guess he's 8 overs, 3 unders on this first 5, 1.5. So I think I like that Marlins team total over 1.5 first 5 against Logan Webb today. That's a kind of sneaky bet. I want to look at it a little bit more before endorsing it, but just on first glance, I think that looks pretty solid. So let's take a look and see what the poll has to say. So chat likes the Astros team total over 5.5. Fade Chris Bubich Day in full effect. I mean, I don't normally like taking team totals at 5.5, but man, he's bad. So what almost worries me about a game like this is we might see what we saw against the Twins yesterday from the Blue Jays, right? Where Chichi went out, gave up 3 runs in 3 innings. Your team total over is looking great. And then they yank the starter so early, and the bullpen comes in and pitches great. I mean, we might see the same thing from the Royals today. We might see 4 runs against Bubich just because he won't pitch deep. He'll go like 2 innings, give up 4 runs. And then the bullpen comes in and pitches great. So that's like almost a worry for me in a game like this. I will say I would lean with the over on this team total. I would probably prefer the Astros run line as opposed to the team total. Is a book even going to offer an over/under on outs for Bubich? I don't even know how you'd set a line for that. Or is it going to be like a 14.5 juiced way to the under? No, they can't even set it at 14.5. It's got to be like a 12.5. I don't know how you can set a line for that. Do you have a number for that? Is there a book that's offering that, or is PrizePicks offering that? But yeah, the Astros are in a position to do great today. There's no question about that. I mean, Bubich is terrible. Luis Garcia is a really good pitcher. So you could take the full game over is at 9.5. So maybe not that. But yeah, I think that the Astros team total is a good look. I think that the run line is a good look as well. So that Astros team total over is the winner of the poll, picked up 5 votes. Again, this was a close poll for the pick of the day. The Paul Goldschmidt Game 1 total bases picked up 4 votes, as did the Guardians-Orioles under 8. Pirates first 5 money line, minus 145, picked up 3 votes, and the Marlins money line also picked up 3 votes. So let me go grab the Astros team total. 5.5 for the chat. Locking that in. And there we go. So I see some people saying I found Bubich hits over under at 4.5. I mean, again, I'm almost worried that he just comes out and walks a bunch of dudes. So his over 4.5 hits has actually only hit once in his 5 starts this year, because he gets yanked so early. So I think I wouldn't try and get fancy and take any kind of Bubich prop. I think that's overthinking it, setting yourself up for disaster. I think you could take like an Astro, if you really want to be betting against Bubich, take like a first 5 team total for the Stros. It's probably sitting at 2.5 minus. I mean, I can go look, but if I had to guess, I'd say like minus 2.5 minus 130, or 2.5 minus 130, something like that. 2.5 minus 135. Yeah. So I mean, I think that that's the way to attack Bubich if you really want to kind of just narrow in on him having a bad performance, and you don't want to take the team total. I guess the full game team total, because that's also a team total. Let's see. Young 40 says Angels plus 1.5 and the over 7.5 parlay plus 230. I mean, I don't hate it. I think plus 230 feels like a pretty good price for that. Could also just take an Angels team total over. It's probably sitting at over 3.5. I mean, it's not going to be plus 230. But you allow yourself an out if the Phillies bats go off and the over hits, but the Angels run line doesn't hit. And then you also allow yourself an out if Lorenzen pitches a gem and it finishes like 4-1 or 4-2 or something, and the over doesn't hit. So that Angels team total is at 3.5. 3.5 like plus 100 for the Angels team total. That actually feels really nice. So I think, yeah, I don't hate that. If you're placing that bet, I think you're expecting the Phillies to score some runs also against Lorenzen. So I think it just depends on exactly how you feel about all of that. If you think that both pitchers are going to give up some runs, I think that parlay is fine. I think if you're more focused in on Lorenzen pitching well or Wheeler pitching poorly, then just take the bet that only deals with that outcome happening. Yeah. Are the Oilers going to make it a series tonight? I don't know. I'm interested to see if it happens. I mean, Francouz played extremely well in Game 2. I don't really bet on hockey. I'm a big hockey fan. I want to see as much McDavid as possible, just as a hockey fan. I also want to see as much like McKinnon and Makar as possible. So from that perspective, I kind of hope the Oilers make it a series just so we get more good hockey. But I also wouldn't be surprised if the Avs just run away with it. This Avs team is so good. They're nuts. Jude says, Astros, first 5 run line, minus 140, not a bad look. No, that's not a bad look either. I really don't think that's a bad look. Ashby over 5.5 Ks at plus 116. Ashby's good. Ashby's been pitching well. I still don't know that I necessarily like that a lot. I mean, he had 12 last time out, but that was against the Cubs. He had 5 against the Padres earlier this year. I really think with Ashby, it just comes down to how many walks is the issue. I mean, if he has a start where he ends up walking 4 guys, he's just not going to have enough pitches that he can throw before he gets pulled to hit this number. But if he's got the good stuff, if he's in the zone or generating a lot of swings out of the zone, then yeah, I mean, this could fly over. And with Ashby, that's not something I really want to be betting on because he is just inherently so inconsistent. I don't want to be betting on how wild versus how controlled he's going to be, which I really think is what this bet comes down to. Should be another good pitching matchup. McKenzie, yeah. So it's interesting. So there's a lot of hype around a lot of young pitchers this year, and I feel like all the guys who have got the hype are the guys who've kind of flamed out a little bit, and the guys who are flying under the radar are the guys who've had a lot of success as far as the rookie pitcher crop is concerned. It's like Hunter Green, I think, has probably had the most hype, for better or for worse, of anybody, and Matt Brash right up there too. But I mean, Mackenzie Gore has been the best of all of the pitchers who've made their debuts this year, and Ronci Contreras on the mound for the Pirates is another guy who I don't think he actually technically debuted this year. He made a start last year, but he's definitely a rookie, and he's pitching phenomenally and is also flying completely under the radar. Ashcroft has been good for the Reds. Yeah, Ashcroft has only made 3 starts, though. I don't know if that's quite enough of a sample size yet. But yeah, he's been pitching well. Kirby for the Mariners is another guy who's been pitching pretty well, I believe. Always interesting to watch these guys, young pitchers. It's one of my favorite things is to watch prospects come up and do their thing. I mean, even Aaron Ashby for the Brewers I believe is rookie eligible this year. He's had a much better season this year than he did last year. I guess he actually wasn't even that bad last year. He just had a couple horrendous starts. Like worst possible start imaginable. So anybody else got anything else to talk about? Again, I'm happy to kind of sit around and chat for a bit. Otherwise, I will wrap up the stream. Any nerfy plays today? Nope. Do not have any nerfy plays today. When is Tatis coming back? I don't know when Tatis is coming back. Booga Moneyline. No, I was a little disappointed to not see him at DreamHack yesterday. But that is what it is. It was an interesting event, to say the least. Javon touched on it earlier on Twitter. I like Mackenzie strikeouts. Yeah, there's some people talking about that one a second ago. Oh, yeah. You were just saying that, too. You were one of those people. Let me see what the model has Gore strikeouts at. Like 6? What's his prop at? Rockies game today. I don't want to touch the Rockies game with the 10-foot pole. It's like one day there's 30 runs in cores. The next day they go 0-0 into extras. Who the fuck knows what's going to happen? Not me. I don't. Maybe somebody does. I don't, though. How do you feel about the Dodgers? The Doyers? I mean, I think that the Dodgers are in a spot right now where, I mean, they're just like a little off. I mean, and Bueller's pitching well, but he's not pitching like Cy Young Bueller. He's given up runs pretty consistently, and it's just a question of, do the Dodgers put up 5-6 against Peterson? Because Bueller's going to give up a couple to the Mets. So I think if you like the Dodgers, maybe the way to take it is just to take a team total and not have to worry about, does Bueller give up 2, or does Bueller give up 3, or does Bueller give up 1? Does Kimbrel come in and blow a save? You just don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And David Peterson's been pitching pretty well for the Mets too. I mean, I don't think he's a phenomenal pitcher by any stretch, but he's getting the job done enough. Let's see. Seattle and Rangers game. Any thoughts on that? I think I kind of like the Rangers. Haven't actually looked at or don't remember what the model says for this one. Yeah, I think the Rangers could be a little bit of a value play. I'm not a big Glenn Otto fan in general, but I do like the matchup for him today against Seattle. Otto's been pitching pretty well recently. Seattle team has been playing not so great. So I kind of like the matchup for the Rangers at home. Not something I'm going to have any action on, though. Let's see. Somebody talked me out of the Reds today. I'm kind of at a point where I just don't look at the Reds games. They're so inconsistent. It's just so hard to tell what they're gonna do. But yeah, fading Feedy is a good strat. There's a lot of good strats. I mean, fading Malley is also a decent strat. Let me see what the model says about the game. I would, without looking at the model, would probably say Reds. Yeah, at that price though, minus 130. What is it? Minus 130, minus 135. If you want to be on the Feedy faders, you could take Reds team total first 5. That's sitting at 2.5, minus 125-ish. I need to look into it more, but that could be a spot. Just not have to worry about, does Malley give up no runs or 8 runs, which is what he's done his last 2 starts. Just focus in on the one pitcher versus one team. Is there any way that you're capping games differently now? No. I think that, I mean, so I guess one thing that I think is important at this stage of the season is I'm not looking at season-long stats anymore. I think that what these teams did in April is kind of irrelevant. Not completely irrelevant, but I think if we're trying to judge like how good or bad a team is, like say how good or bad a team's bullpen is, or how well a team hits against left-handed pitching or whatever. I think at this point it's important to be looking at only like the last month's worth of data. And moving forward, like always be looking at like not super small time windows, but smaller time windows, not the whole season. Just to get a good idea of how, like, it's like, what have you done for me lately? So you can use kind of career level stuff to get a baseline for how good guys are. You can look at last month to get a kind of judge on how hot or cold they're running with a big enough sample size still that it's not like, oh, he gave up no runs in his last start. He's guaranteed to give up no runs this start too. So, I mean, I think just as far as looking at stats, that's one thing that I'm doing that I think is important. But the whole general handicapping process is, I mean, it's the same. Aside from that, did we say that Giants game goes over? I was looking at it. I did kind of like the over, although I think the thing that I liked the most was the Marlins first 5 team total over 1.5, but I need to look into that a little bit more after the stream. Do you ever favor teams like the White Sox? So I think it's a lot of it is just about understanding why a team is overperforming or is underperforming, right? So if you've got a team like the White Sox, why are they underperforming? They're underperforming because a bunch of their good players have been hurt. Eloy Jimenez has been out. Robert's been in and out of the lineup. Tim Anderson is out right now. And without those guys, I mean, the White Sox are a much worse team. So I don't think that they're performing. I mean, after accounting for the fact that those players are out, I think that they're performing at expectation. So I mean, and that's why I think utilizing lineups is so important in baseball. You just have to know who's actually going to be throwing the ball, who's actually going to be hitting the ball. It's not about White Sox versus whoever. It's about the 9 batters that the White Sox are trotting out and the pitcher that they're facing. So I mean, look at the White Sox lineup today. I mean, you got who of their actual stud players are playing. I mean, you've got Jose Abreu batting fourth, but you've got no Robert, you've got no Anderson, you've got no Jimenez. Yasmani Grandal has been horrendous this year. Yohan Moncada has been horrendous this year. So, like, is this a good team? I mean, not really. You've got Leury Garcia, who's been batting below 200 this year. You've got Gavin Sheets, Danny Mendick, Reese McGuire. I mean, like, this isn't... That's not a team that should be expected to be a division winner if that's the guys that they're trotting out every day. That's not a 90-win team. I mean, I remember their over-under win total was set at like 91 or no, like 93 and a half, I think. But with all the injuries, I mean, they're not a 93-win team. What do I think of Rockies over after the deadline? I have no clue. I have absolutely no clue. What is Lorenzen K's at from the model? Lorenzen is at like 5. 5.2. Liable to go up or down a little bit once official lineups come out, but in that vicinity. All right. So I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap the stream up. Thank you, as always, to everybody for tuning in. Be sure to join the Discord if you're not already in there. I'm sure most people are. But if you're not in the Capwise Discord, hop in there. It's a great place to talk about baseball, talk about all kinds of other sports, talk about a bunch of random stuff in there. Also, if you would like to support the stream, that's the wrong button. That's the right button. If you'd like to support the stream, the best way to do so is by subscribing. And the best way to subscribe is with Twitch Prime. You can use the link in the chat to link your Amazon Prime account and your Twitch account. And once you've done that, click the little purple subscribe button at the bottom of the stream. Check the box that says subscribe, or that says use Prime sub, and hit submit. Subscribe completely for free. Helps us out a lot. Also, didn't say this during the stream, but be sure to check out the capwise.com dashboard. You can see all of the model scores for all of the games that we talked about today up there by signing up for a free account. It's a fantastic resource. I mean, it's what allows Ben and I to do this as our full-time jobs. So all of the support over there is also extremely, extremely appreciated. And I'm sure that everybody in the chat who has been around for a while would be happy to vouch for that as a worthwhile product. Or at least I'd hope so. And if not, let me know. Let me know what we could be doing better. So yeah, that's all the plugs. I'll be back tomorrow. Gonna try and find a guest for tomorrow. But same time, same place. Whether it's me by myself or me with somebody else, 11:30 Eastern, I'll be going live. Thanks for tuning in again. Good luck with the bets, and we'll be seeing. Take it easy.